multiple buttons. Hello, everybody. Yeah, random thought time. Enjoy it. It's going to happen. All yours, Doku.
Oh, random. You're just gonna go with random thoughts and then drop it on me like that? That's how it is, Jensen.
Yeah. Brace yourself, boy. We're going in dry.
Oh. Oh no. No, 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 no. Anyways, yeah, I noticed something, your favorite word, Jensen. Noticed something very interesting happened this morning. I've talked to several people about
Drink.
this. Yeah, drink. I'll go ahead and just do that right now and get it out of the way. Cheers, everybody. I know it's early, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Cheers.
Exactly.
But no, I did notice when the U.S. markets opened. First, I should start with the Chinese markets. Oil was up about 1.26%, something around that range, and the U.S. market opens, and it takes a nosedive. And me being the trader that I am, I had a short position that I wanted to capitalize on. I wanted to take that money. Yeah, that wasn't allowed to happen for a strange reason. In the 11 years that I've been trading in the markets, I got an error message where the security, and by security I mean if you're trading Apple, it'd be AAPL, or trading Microsoft or Google, whatever, the ticker, the number that you would, or the letter designation that you would have, that would be the security code. Well, it wasn't recognized, which is odd, considering that most trading happens digitally. It's automated. And Jensen can back me up on this one. He was there. He was confirmed.
Oh yeah.
He listened to it. It wasn't until that I actually had to call the number and figure out, well, why is this not allowed to happen? And keep in mind, I tried to execute this trade 5 to 10 times. I don't even necessarily remember. And it would not allow me to do it. And even while on the phone, I was Jensen. Did you hear anyone even? Did you even hear like the elevator music come on or anything?
Nope. It was absolutely silent, apart from the few times when the voice was up there. That was it.
So immediately after this, though, all of a sudden, I was allowed to trade again. Right after oil takes a nosedive, it takes a big spike up. All of that aside, and Jensen, you want to address the chat real quick just to say thank you for everyone for joining in?
Of course. Yes. Thank you for everyone. And to put it bluntly, you know, this is one of those random shows that's going to happen. I'm glad that you guys are actually getting the message, but hey, maybe we'll do several. Maybe we'll only do one. It is what it is. You get from us random thoughts. This is not like Dodge does it. This did it. This is the way we're going to do it. Looks like, there's a new sheriff in town. Me.
Yeah, you gotta take what you get. But this leads into my point, because I don't want to go heavy into economics or anything like that. My point about this whole story that happened earlier this morning is trading essentially for about 30 seconds to a minute or so flatlined, where the price wasn't continuing to go down, which in an environment where almost all trading is done digitally, stop loss orders would be executed as prices continue to go down, and this would result in what we would call a crash, or specifically a flash crash, even if albeit a small one. Trading doesn't just stop, but yet it did. And then as soon as it resumed, prices spiked again. Now, Jensen, do you believe that the game is rigged?
Yeah. I'm not going to bother being silly about it. Yes, the entire thing is rigged. The second you think you're in control, you have already lost.
And that's the thing I found very strange, because I have seen these type of circumstances play out before. Like I said, I've been involved in the markets intricately, not to the point of just watching, like, oh, well, look at the supply demand trends. Like, no, actually watching Fibonacci levels, watching Bollinger Bands, watching Elliott waves. I've been doing this for 10 years. This is the first time I've actually seen, or at least experienced, trading just stop for no real explanation. And I know a lot of people would say, like, well, but there was a cyber attack and it was Google and servers had to get shut down. Yeah, but that was all up and running at the time this was going on. I can confirm that because, I was talking to Jensen at the time. It's almost like I wanted to confirm that. The only thing that really makes sense in this type of situation is someone, somewhere, an entity of some sort would have money positioned in a certain way that, well, holy crap, we're losing a lot of money. Market just opened. Pause that for 10, 20 seconds real quick. Let's just change something, because again, trading is done mostly through algorithms. Let's just adjust something real quick and hit the play button. Boom. Good to go. And I hate to say it, but that is indeed how things work. And it's a running joke amongst a lot of people who trade on Wall Street. You're not going to see someone who's sitting behind 5, 6, 7 computer screens just typing furiously like they're plugged into the matrix. You don't see that anymore. What they do is they copy paste, say, this is how the algorithm is going to work, this is how we're going to trade, and they make money based on moves that are pennies to dimes. They don't make money based on moves that are half dollars to dollars. That just does not happen. So the only thing that makes sense in this type of situation is not enough money was flowing in to stop this type of nosedive. So someone said, pause that for 10 seconds, let the algorithm load up, let me adjust it real quick. Instead of being weighted 1.25, it's now weighted 1.75, and let's dump 2 billion instead of 1 billion into it. Hit play. There you go. That's the way it works. And for anyone out there that thinks I'm just being conspiratorial, I hate to break it to you. That is the way the system works. There is a saying, buy the rumor, sell the news.
I agree with you, man. Sorry, it's amusing, but it's accurate. At the end of the day, all of this, okay, the only way I can describe it is none of it is real. I realize that, yes, you're dealing with real life stuff in the outside world, but the moment you get onto the electronics, it is just numbers, it's just zeros and ones, which means it is infinitely manipulatable. The only question is whether or not you have the ability to do so, and well, we don't, but they do. They being the people in charge. I realize how conspiratorial that sounds, and well, I am rather known for my conspiracy after all.
The thing is, hey, what's up, MC? But no, you're not wrong about that. And if you go into any not economic forum, but if you go into any group of people that are actually engaged, especially in day trading, you'll notice a term called Mr. Fat Finger that pops up a lot. And essentially what that means is, yeah, sure, you can look at all the fundamentals. That's fine. You can look at supply demand. That's fine. But at the end of the day, if there's someone out there who has billions of dollars and you only have hundreds of thousands, you're never going to be able to fight the trend. If they want the price to go up or down, it's as we were saying earlier, Jensen, don't hate the player, hate the game. If they have billions and you only have hundreds of thousands, if they want the market to move in a certain direction, you can't stop them. They'll just simply outspend you. They will outplay you. And if it means if you have $200,000 and they have $1 billion, guess what? They have a lot more money than you. You're not going to be able to fight the trend. You just have to play along. And that's just the way it is. I hate to break it to everybody. When it comes to the age of digital trading, especially if you're an investor, always keep this in the back of your head. Never, ever, ever fight the trend. But know that the system itself, the large institutions, the ones that have billions of dollars that are willing to say, we'll lose $1 million here or $1 million there just to push everybody else out of the market so that we can set the trend. And yeah, Ogre, trillions on a global scale would be more accurate. It's actually hard to measure because we do operate in a fiat currency system and we operate in a global market, but I'm not going to bore everybody with that. My point here is don't try to fight the trend because you simply don't have enough money, and money is power. You will end up losing. It's that simple. And trust me, I've been on the losing end of that. I've gone from $3,000 just in a trading account for shits and giggles all the way up to almost 20,000 and then gone all the way back down to 600 in the matter of a year. Don't fight the trends. It will bite you. You cannot fight it. It doesn't matter how hard you try. But that brings me
go on.
No, Jensen, go ahead.
All I'm going to say is Discord was also affected by the weird things that have been going on today. Now, theoretically, Discord isn't connected to any of these major companies that we all know and love, cough, cough, Google. But they were going so slow. You could type something and it could take anything up to 10 seconds before it actually put it out there. And as for attempting to contact people, i.e., so as you could voice talk, it was absolutely horrible to do. I mean, I think I called you about 3 times and you called me about 3 times before we gave up and went into one of the voice chats. Does that sound about right, Doku?
The funny part about that is every single call said it was ongoing.
Yeah. Technically, I was talking to him multiple times. Enjoy that as an mental image. I mean, it's bad enough hearing my voice normally, but imagine 3 of me talking. Oh my God, that's a horrifying thought. Carry on, Doku, while I'm mentally imaging it. killing myself.
But no, the point I wanted to bring up, and I know I led in with a story that might or might not seem boring to a lot of people. It comes down to this. Do you really think as single individuals, and again, I'm going to preface this with I am indeed a constitutionalist. I'm not a libertarian. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, get out of my way, I'll stay out of yours, keep out of my business, we're fine. That's the type of approach I like to take with a lot of almost everything, to be honest. But when it comes to the type of society that we live in, love it or hate it, do you really think that you're going to be able to sit down and say, I don't like the way this is being run, I don't like the way this is being done, and you're actually going to be able to do something about it? Because I hate to break it to you, you can't. And if a billionaire, eccentric individual can come in and win against all odds and still get completely shafted. And no, YouTube, before you freak out and everything, I'm not talking about any particular individual. I'm saying as a hypothetical. If you're worth billions of dollars, and could somehow manage to get inside of the established system, the old guard as it would be, and still lose, despite how much popular support you have, do you think that any of us who are worth less than $1 million, do you think we can do anything to stop it? The answer is no. I mean, you can try. It would take very, very extreme measures. Things that would make Antifa look like bigger pussies than they already look like, but that's besides the point. And there's a reason that people like Swalwell sit there and say, well, we have the certain weapons that the U.S. military possesses. Do you think the citizens are really going to be able to do anything? There's a reason that governors like Lori Lightfoot sit there and say, well, we don't care about what's happening to you, but I deserve protection and police and everything. But yeah, fuck the rest of my city. Fuck them. Who cares? Plebeians. Ted Wheeler even tries. I'll give Ted Wheeler credit, actually. I hate to do this. I'll give him credit. At least he actually tried to go down there when they're all rioting in Portland for 100+ days on end. At least he tried to go drum up support, and then they turned around and told him, yeah, screw you, and then they tried to light his freaking apartment building on fire. At least he tried. Stupid effort, but he tried. Naive.
Just want to interrupt a moment, please. William, I was actually asked to keep this channel going by Dodge's wife. That's why we're using it. If you have a problem with us using it, I suggest you take it up with her, not me, mate. Carry on, Doku.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that for you to address, Jensen.
Okay.
But yeah, if you think that any of us normal people are going to be able to fight against this type of thing, I hate to break it to you. It's a losing battle. It's an uphill battle. But if you're willing to fight that battle, more power to you. But you got to know what you're getting into, because I don't know. Maybe I'm being pessimistic. This is why this stream title is the Black Pill. Black Pill for you. I'm not exactly encouraged about our future prospects. I'm really not.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got that over and dealt with. Sorry, it just needed to be said. And yes, William, It was Dodge's wife. She actually asked me personally. I would hope that you should know full well I would not have done that otherwise. Hell, I'm literally only doing this because she asked, mate. Anyway, Lucifer Morningstar, absolutely no problem, dude. Okay, no problem whatsoever. Like he says, you hang in there, man. If you ever need to speak to me, server, and it's Jensen Quinn, you're welcome at any time. I will get back to you the moment I'm able to, man. Okay. Well, our world is a wonderful place, and we are but we are but players in it, to quote the bard. Simply put, we're not actually even involved in this stuff. We are at best something in the background for the players to actually use. Once we accept what we are, we can continue and actually enjoy what of life we're allowed. Those those in charge, well, who knows what they're going to do, as shown today. Everything went to pieces, and yet everything is normal now. It's almost like it never happened. How surprising, isn't it?
And are you really are you really surprised though?
No. By the way, yes, MC, exactly like the Smurf Village. Though let's be honest, it's like the Smurf Village after Gargamel's come to visit. But hey, it's 2020. It's not like it can get any worse. Come on, aliens. Come on, aliens. Please, please, come on, aliens. And you know I'm not wrong.
Well, considering what that one defense minister from Israel said, and what random people on Twitter have been saying, and even people within the U.S. government, maybe aliens do exist. At this point in time, I don't even know, nor would I be surprised. It surprised me with something else.
It does make you wonder, though, doesn't it? I mean, it's. I'm hoping against hope that the guy was just talking crap. I'll be blunt. I'm hoping he was. But there is that tiny little voice in the back of my head that says, "What if?" And yeah, I'm known for doing my conspiracy theories and things like that. And there is a wonderful one that connects very nicely with this, known as I think it's the Black Knight satellite. It's something that is not human. It floats around the planet. We have absolutely no way of knowing when it will turn up, but theoretically, it is always there. The question is, who sent it? That's the thing. Who sent it? Is it actually a man made satellite that no one's willing to admit to? Are there such a thing as aliens? The only full well the only way we're gonna know is a hard way. So hey, it is what it is. But then again, it could be worse, as proved this year.
2020. That's all I can say. And I do want to address this in the chat to Lucifer Morningstar. Your your dad was your dad was a very good friend, and I don't know how else to say it. He's probably one of the best people he's probably one of the best people I ever knew. He really is. I mean that sincerely. I'm glad you're here in the chat joining us. I hope I hope you continue to join in. We probably should have addressed this first. So I'm going to address it now if you don't mind, Jensen.
All yours, sir. All yours.
At request, we do plan on trying to keep this channel going at least to some point in the near future, just for all the people who've been here and been around, and for Dodge and his family. That's the reason we're using this. Otherwise, we'd be on Jensen's channel. I don't know if anybody in the chat has the link to the PayPal. If you do, please feel free to drop it. You're not obligated to donate, and if you don't have the ability to donate, you can't afford it, don't. But if you can, please do.
There you go. There is the link.
And Lucifer, Morningstar, we are doing our best to make sure that Shadowbeard gets made a main character. And it's not White Wolf anymore, it's Onyx Path, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to make that happen. And there's some people working in the background in that as well. So I just wanted to address that just to get it out of the way, because I know William brought it up, and it's a good point. I would bring it up as well. That's why I say we probably should have addressed it first.
Yeah.
But let's get that out of the way, because it's Monday. Let's not grieve. Still, it's not late enough for us to start drinking. So let's move on.
I agree. And to be honest, mate, if you want to do a game, you're welcome to join in with the sort of things we do. It honestly, Discord is your friend. And hey, Jason, all you need to do, Lucifer, get on Discord, communicate with Doku. We will arrange a time. Hell, worst case scenario, I'll even ref it. Yeah, you won't. It'll be fun.
Well, Morningstar would like to join in a game, and Son of Shadowbeard sounds like a good thing. Let's make that happen one day.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's what it is, and I don't know if I'm going too far, but let's just say a certain somebody is attempting to get in contact with a gentleman by the name of Tom McDonald. That's all I'm going to say at this point until we can find, more information on it. But they're attempting to get in touch with a Tom McDonald. If you know your dad, you know exactly the sort of stuff we're talking about.
If we don't manage to make that happen, I actually will be disappointed. Not in us, but just in our community as a whole. Because how the hell can you not? I'm a pirate, but I'm gonna set up my base of operations in a freaking baseball stadium, and maybe or maybe not burn it down, depending on how I feel at that point in time.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking of having every single building in the game made out of asbestos. Somehow. Yeah, right. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not laughing. I'm crying. I'm crying.
Yeah. You're. How's Dublin again? Oh, that's right. Half the city. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Only half the city?
Okay, well,
Didn't have enough asbestos.
Well, like we said, just keep in touch with us. I am more than willing to run for you guys. Granted, my hours are going to be a bit questionable, 8,000 miles, give me a break. But I'll do what I can for everyone, okay? It is what it is. Anyway.
Yeah,
You
I'm
said
trying
what
to.
you need to do, Doku?
Wait, what was that?
Have you said what you needed to, mate?
Uh, yeah, I kind of forgot where I was actually.
You exactly how little we've got any control over the world, and how they have the money, and if they want to, they can do what the bloody hell they want. Okay.
uh, yeah, I mean, that's kind of really all I have to say about it. It, yeah, you might be able to talk. You might be able to say certain things. You might be able to have some pushback, but did do you really think you're going to be able to make that much of a impact? Do you think you have that much influence? And I know it sounds pessimistic. I know it sounds defeatist. I know it's the daily black pill, but if somebody has a if somebody has an alternate idea, let me know, because at this point in time, you might as well, as the saying goes, buy the rumors, sell the news. There's no point in really fighting against it. At least, I
Yeah.
guess, not until they come knocking on your door and telling you you're gonna you're gonna wear this particular article of clothing and give up all of your physical possessions and just, you know, go to the quarry somewhere and you're gonna like it. Maybe then at that point in time you might have enough people that actually decide, like, yeah, nah, get bent, we're gonna fight back. But until something that extreme happens, I feel like it's just gonna be a slow burn where people are just gonna slowly continue to give up their rights, and as Dodge would say, you know, neglect refreshing the tree of liberty with the blood of patriots and tyrants, and just accept peaceful slavery. I I feel like that's the path we're on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, who knows? Perhaps things will work out. Perhaps, well, as MC says, perhaps we'll enter the Smurfs village and everything will be wonderful and we can all sing la 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 la. Or perhaps not, you know? This is still 2020, people. We've still got a few days left before it gets, before we escape this show. And hey, it's got to be better next year than this year, hasn't it?
You're not wrong. I do want to address Jacob in the chat. Uh, the worst thing people do is believing with the way the system currently is, you could use or work, from the top to create significant change. Many times, as things are now, it starts at the bottom. I Jacob, you're not wrong. I just I don't see the fire in people's belly that's actually really going to facilitate any type of grassroots or from the bottom to top change that we would really need to to facilitate any significant change. That is, you might have something here or there, but nothing that's going to make any long term impact. I mean, hell, most people can't even remember. Most people can't remember what happened 1 month ago, let alone 1 year ago.
Yeah. And thank you for the friend request, Lucifer. It just makes life a damn sight easier. Okay.
Jacob said, I don't believe it'll start soon, but in my opinion, it will grow. It just takes time. And Herpicus, thank you for joining us. Glad to see you here.
Yeah.
Jacob,
just so it's been said, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that sort of, I don't know, whatever it is people are meant to do. Just wanted to get that out of the way, Doku. Go ahead, man.
Oh no, if you weren't gonna do it, I was actually just about to do it. But I guess I'll move on to but Jacob, I don't believe it'll start soon, but in my opinion, it will grow. It just takes time. I hope you're right. And also memes of destruction. Hello, man. What's going on?
And memes.
Maybe this is kind of a different take, but the way I say people can't remember what's happening a month ago, let alone a year ago. I don't know if it's actually going to gain the type of what's the word I'm looking for? Why am I blanking on this? The type of traction that we would need for people to actually say, yeah, I don't want authoritarian government. I don't want somebody standing in my way telling me what to do or what not to do. I just want to be left alone and live my life as I see fit. I don't see that happening. I think people are complacent. I think people are lazy. I blame, from radio to television to the internet to the advent of social media. Hell, most people don't even remember that someone got called racist for shutting down travel to a certain country, and now they're telling us to lock down because of a certain thing that happened that is infectious. People have a very short attention span, and it's only getting worse. I don't see the type of society that could facilitate the type of environment that would result in people really caring about their individual liberties and freedoms. I really don't. And maybe I'm a pessimist. I'm not saying I'm correct in this outlook. But me personally, I don't see it. I think people would just rather live the lives of peaceful slavery. I don't know. What do you think, Jensen?
The problem is, you are right. People would rather things just carry. I think a good way of putting it is people would like things to just carry on and there be no real disturbance. Unfortunately, and I may get in trouble for this, but what the hey, this is not the world where such can actually occur. We need change. We need things to happen that will actually make humanity move forward. And as much as a certain person likes to point out that this world is full of people that just want to see it all burn, I'm sorry to say this world has actually got to the point that we need it to burn, or at least some of it. I'm not attempting to make a claim for, destruction of this or armies or anything stupid. Just we have got to a point that this world needs change, and this world is fighting for stagnation, and that isn't working for me.
Oh, I guess I know the joke of first world problems is a joke, but it is, and yes, meme Sephiroth is the solution. But I know
Good plan.
I know the term first world problems is a joke, but if you think about it, with the way that technology has advanced, we don't have to worry about being on a sailing ship to go discover the new world. Nowadays, we can launch a satellite and wait 12 hours, and we can know what's going on halfway across the globe. We as a species, or at least sociologically as a species, we've gotten lazy, we've gotten complacent, we've gotten used to this some degree of luxury. It's not like we're having to even fight each other off with spears or use slings or slingshots or bows and arrows or anymore. We've gotten to a certain point where we understand enough about the physical world around us. I mean, hell, we've made atomic bombs. I know the atomic age was over 70 years ago now, if you go back to when it was actually being developed. Now we're looking at, let's go to the stars. Our level of advancement has made us as people, as a species, as a culture, as a society, we're lazy. And let's be blunt. We're lazy. We're not willing to fight for what matters most to us. And that's our freedoms and our individualities as just a single person, as a single family unit, as a single community. Well, we can say that we are, but there's not a damn person that does it. You could say like, "Oh, I'm Antifa. I'm fighting against fascism," or "I'm a Proud Boy. I'm fighting against Antifa." No, you guys are just getting behind a movement, but you're not actually really fighting for anything. You're just fighting for what makes you feel good. You're fighting for something that you believe in ideologically, but you're not actually fighting. You're not fighting for a community. Maybe some of you are fighting for yourselves, but I would argue that's very few. You're not fighting to defend your family. I'd argue, Proud Boy, Antifa, I don't care who it is. You're not fighting to take guns off the streets and stop violence or any of that shit. No, you're engaging in it. You're just fighting for something to make you feel good about yourself and your own existence, because at the end of the day, you have nothing. You're clinging on to something so that you have some sort of purpose. And that's the problem that we have with our there's a term, I forget who said it. It's something along the lines of a society of decadence. We've become a decadent society to the point where we're actually desperately seeking for something to fight for. And this doesn't include the people that actually go out there and fight in places that they shouldn't be fighting in, because it's none of our damn business, to be blunt. If Group A and Group B want to go kill each other in some country that I've never even fucking heard of, let them go ahead and do it. As long as it doesn't impact me or my family or my country, I don't care. There's a lot of people, far too many people out there, who are just desperately seeking purpose in their lives, and they're trying to find it, and they're trying to figure out what that purpose is. That they end up just doing stupid things that mean nothing at the end of the day. And that's what I find disturbing. Like, let's look at BLM. You want to talk about like racial injustice? Like, oh, we're going to start BLM and do this and this and that and donate money and everything. Half these people don't even know where that money goes. And what does BLM on the ground do? Are you helping out? Are you helping out Black communities? Are you helping out disenfranchised people? Are you helping build these communities up, making them better? No, they're not. I don't care who you're talking to. No, you're not. Maybe some of you are. You're the exception. But the vast majority, no, you're not. And on the other side of the coin, same thing goes for the Proud Boys. Yeah, okay, I get it. You're going out there and you want to defend the Trump supporters because they want their right to protest and they don't want to be harassed and this and that. Okay, that's fine. But you're still causing violence. You're still going to get attacked, and you're just still going to escalate the situation. You're not helping anything. Granted, neither are the cops. Neither are the politicians. This is what happens when you live in a society of decadence.
See my statement about this world going to stagnation. I'm sorry to say this, and I've said it before, and I'm probably going to say it again, but humanity works best when it is striving against something. I'm not suggesting that we fight amongst ourselves. In fact, I'm actually suggesting the exact opposite. but we do need something to fight for. And that is the problem. We don't have that anymore. Humanity needs a leader, and like it or not, it needs an enemy, a something to do, a target. Now I realise that all these terms sound so violent, but they're not necessarily meant that way. I mean, space itself could easily be the target. If, and I would like it noted, this is all daydream. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry, I am that person. But if we actually got ourselves together, stopped being, to put it bluntly, dicks to each other, we could easily get into space. If things had actually stopped being stupid back in the 70s and 80s, it is quite feasible that we would already have moon-based Tycho. We would be going on to our Martian bases already. Hell, we'd have probably had people going out there and actually doing some of the work. The problem that we've got is actually leaving our planet. If we ever get the capacity to leave our planet, it will actually be surprisingly easy to build spaceships. It's the getting them from Earth into space that is actually the hard part.
I would say, Jensen, you said target, but I would actually replace that with a goal. But the problem is you need a unified goal. You need everybody on the same page working towards that same goal, that same end objective. Because without that, it's a wasted effort, and we're just going to devolve back down into what we have right now. I mean, and for example, look at the Soviet Union and what happened there when we had the arms race, the space race. Hey, hell, if it wasn't for Nazi Germany, we'd never have nuclear power. You can even look at I forget the name of the president. I'm not going to care to admit that I remember what it is, but even when nuclear power was developed, with the knowledge that it was being developed for the purpose of creating a bomb,
Yeah.
even then it was recognized this has the potential to provide the world with power that coal, oil, no other power source known to man at that point in time could come close to even holding a candle to what nuclear fission could provide. But we created it for the purpose of making a weapon. But we still recognized that potential. We were unified in that goal, and we made it happen. Same thing with taking all the information that we could get out of Nazi Germany, and then what we could cultivate here at home and from Britain and everywhere else, and we developed the Saturn rockets. Put a man on the moon. Why? Because we had a common enemy, but it was a Cold War. But we still had that unifying goal. The only defining factor behind all of those situations is that the population we're talking about was unified in that primary goal. Not what we're doing now, where you're dressed in black bloc and burning an American flag, and I'm waving a Trump flag, and let's go beat the crap out of each other. Nothing productive happens from that. And granted, I personally would side on the side of the Proud Boys simply because I'm not there to instigate the fight. I'm there to prevent you from beating the crap out of people who aren't instigating a fight. That being said, nothing beneficial comes out of either of them. It just doesn't. And
agree.
But it would be a lot better.
Agree, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying it would be a lot better if all these idiots could stop sitting around trying to find Nazis under every damn bedsheet, because guess what? They don't exist. Hey, hate to break it to you, Antifa, but let me tell you the harsh truth. Nazis in America, you might find 2, 3, maybe 5 dozen, if you're lucky. If you're lucky. They don't exist. It's a boogeyman. But as soon as you idiots show up and you don't see any Trump flag waving people, you idiots end up attacking each other. That's how desperate you are for a boogeyman. Stop it. You look like morons. You're not benefiting anyone. You're just putting yourselves in worse situations than you're already in. You're doing no one any favors. Stop it. Just get help. Seek some fucking help. You're mentally ill. You are delusional. Fucking stop. As far as the Proud Boys go, I get it. You're showing up to defend Trump supporters who are doing nothing more than waving American flags and everything. But you do realize every time you show up and Antifa hears about it, they show up too, and boom, self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not doing anybody any favors either. That being said, don't go attacking people in the middle of the street just because they're wearing a certain style of clothing or waving a certain flag that you don't like. Yeah, yell at them all you want. If you want to be a dick, be a dick. But the second you start attacking people, you know what? You deserve to have the ever-living crap beat out of you with the utmost prejudice. And it needs to happen sooner rather than later. Because the sooner it happens, the sooner these people will fucking stop. I don't care what side you're on. If you want to run out there and act like an idiot, by all means, be my guest. Run out there, act like an idiot, get the crap beat out of you, and do it under the assumption that if you attack someone, you're putting your life on the line. Because you have no clue if that person might have a knife or a gun or is just really skilled at martial arts and might just break your neck. Only go out there and start bullshit if you're willing to put your life on the line. If you're not, go the fuck back home and stop doing your bullshit. It'll all end really quick.
Yeah. As the not American, what goes on over there is up to you guys. I'm sure someone knows what they're doing, or at least, let's just pretend they do. But we don't have half the problem with Antifa that you guys do. We've got our own shit shows. Don't get me wrong. We have got an absolute collection of shit shows. Trust me on this. But the problem with them is that they will actually go out and, assuming they don't find the enemy, which of course they won't, they then make the enemy. That is the problem. Especially seeing as they will make the enemy, and then they'll also get those that are so desperate to fit in that they will actually join with them and become part of their group. And that is the worst thing ever. Whatever happened to people working together? I know I'm saying this to the Americans in general, but England had the Blitz spirit. Come on, people. We can do this, okay? And everything's gone weird.
I don't disagree
Attempting
with you on that
to add you. Okay, good.
Oh, hi guys, how's everyone doing?
Hello. Yep.
Hey, what's up, dude? A wild CSG appeared.
Are you here to disagree?
No,
Yes.
no. I'm generally not. I may disagree with some specifics, but the overall message that's being put forward is the absolute right one. Yeah, there's always going to be ideological differences between different people from different sides of the political aisle. The point that I think Doku's trying to make, and you're even trying to make, is the more that we take away from the point of, well, you said this because you're from the left, or you said this because you're on the right, and we more just look at the actual ideas and the merits that they come forth, that can only benefit humanity. Because then we can actually talk about, well, why is the idea wrong, or why is it good, and how do we make it better? Not let's just dismiss it because some crazy Trump supporter said this, or some crazy Marxist said that. Maybe there's some merit in the actual ideas for a change, rather than it being a case of the identity of the person, which is amazing that the right and the left decry that they won't talk about identitarianism, but yet are playing the same political motivated games while decrying the other side from doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
there is a point in time where I've found, like, I really did.
You're breaking up, Goku. Breaking up, mate.
Yeah, start that one again, mate.
I'm sorry, we are not rating
hold on, give me a second.
people. Honestly, we're really not. I know the crowd are going to start thinking we are. And that is a mental image that nobody ever needs to have. Though, it has to be said, R2 does have that lovely little scanner, which is really at the wrong height. I shouldn't be thinking this way. I'm just going to be quiet.
I was gonna say, you've been watching something you want to tell us about, Jensen? You got something you want to share with the class?
I'm just going to say this: all hail our robot overlords. Okay, carry on.
Oh God, no. All I was going to say before, StreamYards wanted to be wonky again because, it's StreamYards. I did find myself at a certain point in time falling down the identitarian rabbit hole, and to some degree, I still do. But I hate listening to people that agree with me politically. I don't like it, and I really, really don't. And what the hell ever happened to just your ideas might have merit, but let's debate them, because I don't think they do. Let's see if you can back it up. I might actually find some reasonable ideas in there. What the hell is wrong with that? Why do we have to just evolve to fuck you, you're a Trump tard, and you're a libtard, or you're a conservatard, or you're this or you're that? How about you actually back something up with some substance? Like, give me an actual argument. If you want to make a point, defend it.
Well, the reason for that, my friend, is because people in themselves, not everyone, and a lot of people try to operate from an honest, well, at least I believe they are, an honest point of view. But it's so easy for people to just slip into dismissive mode and go, well, you're Trumpist, you're blah, 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 you're blah, 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 and just to dismiss the person outright, rather than actually, as you said, tackle the actual points. I do completely not agree with you on the point of tribalism. We try to put ourselves so much higher above than what we think our base levels were, so to speak. And we're not. We're still base, to the point of we would rather talk about you're a Trumpist, you're a Marxist, you're this, you're that, than actually try to intellectually debate the actual points and topics. We continuously would rather throw out the point of we're going to fight my side versus your side, regardless of whether it's religion, regardless of whether it's sports, and now for throwing into politics to a very high degree again. It's because we're human.
Oh, I'm not going to say I'm perfect in that aspect, and I'm sure as hell not innocent. I've found myself falling into the realm of tribalism and just, attacking an idea because I vehemently disagree with it without defending my own position, and being a dick, being a troll, whatever. I've done it. I'm guilty as well. I do have to try to make a what's the word I'm looking for? Damn it! Someone help me.
Caveat.
Not a caveat. I have to make
Banana.
a conscious effort. Banana.
Oh.
Banana. I have to make a banana. No, I have to make a conscious effort to prevent myself from becoming that which I hate. And I've done it. I openly admit I've done it.
Just
But
one moment. I just want to say this, and then you can get back to your thought. Now, everybody, try to get out of their head the mental image of Doku making a banana. Back to you, mate, if you can.
Damn it, Jensen.
And while you're doing that, the last person to mention anything about bananas on YouTube was TJ Kirk, and we all know what he did with that.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna pretend that never happened. Oh, I hate both of you right now.
We try.
Good Lord. That went places that was not the
That's
moon or
what TJ
Mars.
Kirk said. That's what TJ Kirk said.
That this is not how we progress humanity.
Okay, nothing you say is going to help here. Just think very carefully and carry on. And even that in itself could be a problem. Carry on.
I don't want to carry anything on. I know where that hole leads.
You should do. It's yours.
Oh yeah.
But no, I have had to make a conscious effort of don't become that which you hate, which I have not quite been as successful as I wish I have been.
I don't think anybody can be Doku. I think that's the whole point. The whole point of humanity is being able to stand by a set of principles. Now, we all know that word now has some serious messed up connotations due to Sargon of Akkad now, but sweeping that and him aside very quickly, actually sticking to principles is generally very, very hard, because we get to a point where we want to win an argument rather than actually sticking to the point of our principles and trying to be forthright and honest in debating or talking or trying to put our opinion across. And sometimes I'm myself, as an example, I can't articulate my point to the way that I want to do it. So sometimes I slip into being more human rather than an intellectual and go, no, yeah, you're a retard. When that just doesn't really work with anybody. Well, it does work with some people, but generally it doesn't benefit anybody, apart from the people that laugh.
I think the bigger part is if you're not trying to be an edgelord or a meme king or anything along those lines, it might benefit some people in that sense that you can get some people to laugh and it's like, hey, I'm gonna mock something stupid, but I'm not doing it to make a real point. But as far as being beneficial, I guess you could make the argument, it made you laugh, but it's not necessarily beneficial.
I know that this is not my show or anything else like that, but if I can take 2 seconds just to have a quick interlude with what Jacob is saying in the chat.
Yes.
Go for it, dude.
The time for an intellectual debate has never subsided. The way that you convince people that your arguments and your reasoning and your thinking is sound in the correct way is not by beating them into submission, either physically, mentally, or even by a war aspect. Because there will always be insurgents, there will always be terrorists, there will always be people against you. The only way that you prove that your ideas are better is by proving your ideas are better. And that is only done by intellectual debate and scientifically proving it. That's the only way that you can prove to other people that your ideas are right. Otherwise, you are literally being an authoritarian, or by the true definition of a fascist.
That is a good point. And if you can't at least have a conversation with somebody first, you might as well not even waste your time and just get right down to throwing fists or popping out pews. Because what is there to be gained at that point in time? If you can't have open discourse, then get down to business. There's no other recourse in society other than that. I know that sounds shitty, but it's the
No.
truth.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I agree with Jacob in the sense that yes, sometimes there is only a point of you physically have to stand your ground. You can't let people trample over you, and you can't let people trample over the state, and you can't let people trample over what you believe to be the right way of living. I understand that, but with every war that you have, what's afterwards? Always a peace treaty. So you always have to sit down and talk, and then get along afterwards.
Well, again, that's the thing. If
He's
if negotiations break down, we resort to more extreme measures, and then eventually somebody is going to be forced to submit, and then you will literally be forced to sit down or be wiped out. I guess
so
the
you
point.
just described World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how human nature has been, and not even on a large scale, but even on a small scale. When it comes down to the point where if you can't sit down and talk things out, whether it's one side or the other, if negotiations have failed, if we have reached an impasse, and there is no reconciling, it's either you can both fuck off and never speak to each other again, which will ultimately, at some point in time, just inevitably result in a war anyways. Or you sit down and fight it out, and one side is going to be forced to submit, and the other side is going to be forced to accept the terms of surrender. That's the way humanity has operated for hundreds, if not thousands of years. That's just, for whatever reason, that's the way we operate as a species. Until we reach a higher level of understanding, until we reach our galactic federation and utopia, that's the way human society works.
I feel like
it's not
quoting
pretty.
memes. I'm sorry, just have to say, I feel like quoting memes here. Why can't we all just get along?
Well, very, very quickly, very quickly before we move off the point. If we're going to go through the points of history and realize that for thousands upon thousands of years, the mini wars, the 100 wars, the 30 years wars, or everything that's happened in Europe, so on and so forth, didn't actually benefit anybody. You could argue that for a couple of 60, 70, 80 years, maybe even a couple of 100 years, different treaties worked, but they'd always go back to war again. The point that I'm trying to make is that it's only recently that we've come to your point, which is a higher plane of existence, so to speak, where we realize that, yeah, you can beat somebody in submission to agree with your point, but for how long? The only way that you actually change somebody's point of view is by showing them why their point of view is wrong and then explaining why yours is right. And that's what we see time and time again recently and now, rather than it being how it was in the past. Because the more that we go back to the past and try and say that our views are so good that we need to enforce them onto others, it just doesn't work that way. There will always be resentment when you do stuff like that. The only way that you can beat somebody like that is, yes, standing your ground, but it's always opening up your table to negotiations.
I mean, you're not inherently wrong. You also do have to remember a lot of technological advancements that have happened throughout history have been primarily for the source or for the purpose of waging war.
Of course, we're at our best when we fight against each other.
Oh, yes.
I'm not denying our humanity, and I'm not denying what our human nature is. All I'm saying is, for political discourse to try and venture forward, if we're going to take this idea of trying to take away what you were saying before about the idea of taking away the tribalism, or at least trying to elevate ourselves above it, then the only way that we can do that is by continuously opening up ourselves to negotiations. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to throw your principles out. You always have that standing block where you're not going to cross that line, and nor should you. But you should always have that approachability to be able to say, look, we can see that you've got problems. You think that the police are doing this, or you think that the governments are doing this. Let's have a chat. Bring your evidence. I'll bring mine. Let's find out what goes on. Because the more that you try to sweep people under the rug, the more that they're going to try and fight against it. And the more that you show them that they're wrong, or show them that you think that your opinion is right or why theirs is wrong, the more that they feel validated and realize that they have nowhere else to go because they've been put forward. They've had their trial, so to speak, and they realize they've got nowhere else to go. Where if you force them underneath the rug or whatever, or force them so they can't speak, they feel like a martyr, and they can quite easily be martyred as such.
Jensen, I want to know if you have anything to weigh in on this, because I have a bit to say on this one.
Okay. Amazingly, you're both right in and of itself. Unfortunately, if you don't sit down and talk with people, you will get what we like to use the term as terrorists, or at least, internal terrorists, where they will actually give their opinion the hard way. It's a wonderful idea. I mean, don't get me wrong. A terrorist is only a terrorist because you're on the wrong side. If you're on the same side as them, you can call them freedom fighters. Do you know what the difference is? Spelling. That is the only real difference. But yet, Doku, you're right. It's part of humanity to take control of a situation. And yes, you will need to force opinion on people at some point. This can be proved just based on World War II. I'm sorry to say that we was not going to get peace with the Japanese until they could see, oh God, they're willing to do what? And I can prove this for one simple reason. There were still Japanese fighters in 1973 that hadn't realized the war was over, or, and this part is the most important part, they didn't care. They were fighting on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. You need to give overwhelming reason for why the way you're doing things is the right way. The problem is unfortunately humanity will prefer to go to war than sit around the table and talk about it.
Yeah, it's easier to enforce your views by violence. I completely understand the human nature argument. I completely understand it. In fact, we generally do it most of the time. And again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't stand your ground. If somebody wants to encroach into your state and wants to try and burn your state house down to the ground, yeah, you're going to need to defend that shit with your lives. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't.
Well, and on what Jensen was saying, because it actually goes very nicely into what I was going to say. It's the reason that I can't comprehend, nor do I see the logic behind people who try to advocate for Marxism or communism or anything like that. Not for the reasons that most people would say, but simply for the reason that at a fundamental standpoint, if you boil it down to its base ideological components, the viewpoint that Marxism, communism, collectivism ultimately has is that it assumes that everyone is going to agree or be the same, and that human nature is essentially not a thing and everybody's going to be agreeable, and nothing bad is going to come out of trying to force that type of ideology. Because at the end of the day, just due to basic human nature, whether you're talking about millions of people living in a state that's thousands of square miles, or if you're just talking about a small town, there is still such a thing as community. And even within small communities, people are still going to band together and
you know, certain people are going to act a certain way, and people that act or think a certain way are going to congregate around each other, and they're going to form groups. They're going to form tribes. And from that, they're going to form towns. And from that, they're going to form states. And from that, they're going to form countries and cultures. That's just the natural progression of how human beings work. You're not going to force everybody to get along unless you actually legitimately, without question, force them to get along. And the only way you're going to do that is at the barrel of a gun. And that's why when you see any of these collectivist movements, and I'm not even going to just say Marxism or communism, but look at even just trying to unify the United States. How the hell are you going to get the United States to unify if not at the barrel of a gun? And this is why populism will work for a specific reason. Populism is unified not because of its authoritarian collectivist mentality, but because it's unified by a fundamental principle behind it. It's unified underneath the culture. But if you start trying to undermine the culture, where it's like, well, I'm an American, but guess what? Game over. Done. You might as well not even begin. If I'm white, I'm black, I'm Hispanic, I'm Asian, but I'm also an American. You've already completely destroyed the idea of unity. And ultimately, that's what populism is supposed to be.
May I just interrupt for a second? I'd like to answer something Jacob said. Yes, you are correct about the Japanese, but remember that was Japan as in the governmental force, not necessarily the separate individuals. They needed as much. Like, I agree that America went too far. Sorry, America, it happens. But they went too far with the destruction they caused, especially with two of them. Okay, they basically used weapons that are still in effect now. I believe that the radiation in those cities can still have its own problems. But even if the actual Japanese had surrendered, America wasn't going to accept it because they wanted to show the world, we've got this, do not screw with us. That's the problem. It was, unfortunately, America wanted to take the next step, and Japan wasn't a reason to actually do the next step. Now, if I'm wrong with this, Stoku, I would love to hear you disagree with me. I don't actually think I am, though.
No, you're not.
Sorry, mate. This is not me being and picking on the Americans. You could have given this information. It wouldn't really have made much difference. It was just a statement. That was all.
Well, and it is a relevant statement based on what I was just saying. When it comes to populism, you could say I'm black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, but I'm also an American. That mentality already should tell you where the mindset is. If you're a populist or a nationalist, it should be I'm an American, and then. And you could make the same argument for collectivism, except collectivism has a distinct difference.
Yeah, I mean, before you carry on, I would say that you have possibly I have a misunderstanding of what populism is compared to what nationalism is. That populism is literally defined as what is running as popular at the time. So if communism is popular, then the populace vote, and the populism is communism.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. No, that's fair. But I guess I should say at this point in time, it's national populism that is the argument. When it comes to populism, in the sense that I'm using it from the sociological standpoint, it is distinctly from a nationalistic perspective, because we're not talking about pop culture. We're talking about what is the populace, as in from a nationalist standpoint. Are you American or are you not? Well, we want more American citizens to be living in America. That should be the popular thing. As in, that is what should be the majority. Because it's America. And it's not to say I'm against immigration. It's not to say I'm against people having visas or anything like that. It's just from a nationalist standpoint, populism should be the primary goal because you want the majority of your country, and it should be the same for Australia. Australia should be inhabited mostly by Australians. Germany should be inhabited mostly by Germans. Britain should be inhabited mostly by the British. That's not saying you're completely cutting off immigration, but that is a populist standpoint. Now, in regards
well, no,
to
that's a nationalist standpoint. That's not a populist standpoint. That's a nationalist standpoint. You could argue that it's an ethnic nationalist standpoint or a civic nationalist standpoint, depending on your ideology on that, but it's not a populist.
Well, the two have to go hand in hand. Now,
no, that's why they're different words. I'm not trying to be pedantic. I'm just pointing out the difference.
Oh, no, I understand what you're saying. The reason I say that it's supposed to be populist in the sense that I'm saying it's a nationalist thing.
Yeah, but to make it a national populist, you'd have to make it a nationalist point first. Otherwise, you can't make it a national populist. Do you see what I mean by putting it in that order?
Okay, so you're talking about the order of the word.
Yeah, because if you have populism, you have to make sure that if you're trying to suggest that the nationalism is the bit afterwards, that means that the whole country believes in that as being the populist idea. So it'd have to be a nationalist populism idea rather than it being the opposite way around.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I wasn't paying attention to the order of my wording, but no, I agree with you on that point. So what's the point I was trying to make? You can have a nationalist populist standpoint. Yes, that's fine. When you move into the idea of collectivism, though, then you start to run into issues. Because collectivism doesn't take into account culture. Whereas nationalist populism does.
I disagree with that. If you're going to say, for instance, that collectivism in itself, you've already put it into a term of collectivizing a nation. So you could argue, not saying that I am, but you could argue that the idea of national populism is a collectivist thought process.
But I would disagree for this point. Collectivism on a national scale can exist, but it doesn't result. Well, let me rethink this. When it comes to populism and nationalism, I don't think the two can exist in the same state as collectivism. Collectivism exists in the United States, but it results in areas where you have Chinatown, Little Italy, etc., etc. They still
could argue that those are mini collectivists or mini collections of people, right? So you could argue that within the ethnic, or should I say civic makeup of America, is that it comes up into many, many small collectivist groups combining to make a singular aspect and culture.
And I would argue that when you start moving further towards the side of collectivism and not nationalism, where I am this group first but American second, that doesn't create unity. It is not our strength. It actually creates weakness. It creates division. Because, well, yes, I'm American, but I'm Irish, or I'm Native American, or I'm Black, or I'm Hispanic, or I'm gay, or I'm lesbian, or I'm trans. And you start splitting down into these splinter groups, and they form collectives around themselves. That's collectivism. They don't that's the reason you see people burning American flags, even though they should all consider themselves Americans, is because they're putting other identities first, and it's not a unifying factor. It's a divisive factor. And that's why I think it's a harmful ideology. On that?
Why do you think that they're putting their, say for instance, their sexual orientation or Black Lives Matter, their skin color above their identity of American? Do you not think that if they're putting that forward as me as a gay person or me as a black man is thinking that America should be doing this better, do you not think that they're trying to point out to American citizens that this kind of needs to change for the benefit of America? So you could argue that what they're doing is a nationalist identity crisis to try and push forward their plight as needs to be sorted.
I would make the argument that when you start pushing forward that identity as being the most important thing,
that's what I was trying to get at. Do you think that that's what they're trying to do? That, oh, I'm gay, but they're not trying to say that they're a gay American? How do you know that that's their most important aspect of their identity?
Well, they march for it.
Sure, but you can march for Trump. Does that mean that you're collectively supporting Trump now and you're identifying as Trump? Or is that just an important factor to what you believe the country should, present as?
To a degree, I see what you're getting at. But honestly, I don't see it as being that important when it comes to the point where you're actually living. When we have the point that we're dealing with the entire country fighting over, do Black Lives Matter or all lives matter? No, because it's politically divisive. Nothing good comes from that. And this is where I hate the idea of identitarianism and tribalism and collectivism, is because that's all anybody is ever focused on. Where you have people burning the American flags in the streets because they think the American flag has somehow represented something that has harmed them. But yet, well, what about?
Couldn't you see that from their point of view?
Well, what about all the gay people who are waving the American flag, but for somehow the other side of the coin thinks that's bad, and they think for some reason they're fascist?
I suppose that goes to the point of what they think that you're waving the flag for, the same as what you think they're waving their flag for. Do you not think that that goes back to what you were saying beforehand about identitarianism and tribalism? You've already naturally assumed that because they're waving a rainbow flag that they're not American, or they don't think that that's their primary identity.
I get
MC is thing that quite interesting here. Spitting on national symbols is not trying to make the nation better, it's an attack on the nation, blaming it for their problems. Opinion,
well, if you think that, if you think that your whole nation is like oppressing you, now I don't believe this, and I don't think that the nation is going out of its way to go against anybody personally. I think it treads on everybody fucking equally. But if you honestly believe that that's what they're doing, why wouldn't you spit on somebody that you believe is oppressing you?
Oh, I get what you're trying to say, but here's my point. Yeah, you can go ahead and burn the American flag. That's fine. I'm not going to stop you. I might not agree with it. But here's the thing. I might be out there waving a Trump flag. I might be out there waving a Biden flag. I might be out there waving, I don't know, just a blank flag. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is, I'm not actively trying to oppress you. I really don't care if you're gay. I do not care if you're trans. I don't care if you're lesbian. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I really don't care. The one thing I do care about, though, is whether you're American or not. And if you're burning the American flag, then I start to take a little bit of issue because, well, that's telling me that you really don't care about this country. Because guess what? Whatever you believe or don't believe, this country is not oppressing. It isn't. That's just
what they believe,
and that's what they believe. But here's the problem: the same people who do that, they're the ones who refuse to have a conversation with other people and actually view the other side of the coin, actually have a civil discourse with someone and say like, well, they're the ones that sit there and point the finger at you and say, well, you're this ism or that ism or this phobe or that phobe, but they won't have a conversation with you. They refuse to do it. Instead, they actually choose to be divisive, and they choose the collectivist aspect of things, and they choose to attack you. And I don't see a way to actually have a productive conversation with those type of people, let alone live in the same town and live next door to those people, because not through any fault of my own, they for some reason think that for God knows whatever they think for some reason I hate them, when in fact I don't. It
Sure.
never have.
Very, very quickly, before you carry on. You can quite easily flip this and say that you think that they're not American because they wave their flag. Now, I'm not saying that you do think that, but remember how perceptions of you saying about them and how they think about you? It sounds like this is a two-edged sword, which is just the wrong perception and coming from a wrong standing point.
Except for the fundamental difference is that I don't care about them burning the American flag. I find it disrespectful, sure, but I'm not going to go out and stop them. I'm not going to.
That's not the point I was meaning. Just a couple of seconds. What I was meaning was that you were saying hyperbolically or to the point or not. I don't know. You can clarify afterwards if you want to. But you were saying that you believe that they are necessarily putting their own identity above being American, and how they flip that is that they think that because you're waving a Trump flag, you're a fascist. Now, do you not see how both sides of that particular coin have a preconception that is negative of the other side to begin with?
I understand where you're coming from. My point on this one is I see how one side acts and I see how the other side acts. And for the majority, it's not necessarily people waving the pride flags or anything that are doing the fucked up shit. But when it comes to the people waving the Trump flags, what are they doing? They're just sitting there yelling at each other. It doesn't matter for much. But there is a distinctive element that tends to be leaning to one political ideology and not the other, that distinctively does not like anyone who believes that America is fundamentally not fascist or not evil or not racist or whatever the buzzword of the day is. And
sure,
that's where we start running into the problem. And again, they're allowed to have their opinion. They're allowed to do what they want. But it's when you start crossing a certain line where it's like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Because now you're starting to threaten me. You're starting to threaten my friends. You're starting to threaten my family. There is a pattern of behavior from a certain group of people, from a certain political leaning of a certain mindset that do this. And I'm not saying it's of a certain checkbox or not. It's just of a certain group. And I know there's plenty of people who are gay, trans, black, lesbian. I'm friends with them who are on the side that say, no, these people are full of shit too. But they don't hold the collectivist mindset. And that's really what it comes down to. It's easy to hold up that you're of a certain not necessarily ideology, but you're of, well, I'm this or I'm that or I'm a certain thing, and you can use that as a shield essentially to shield yourself from criticism or even from being attacked, even if you're the aggressor. And don't get me wrong, it's an effective tactic. It actually it works. It really does work.
One moment, please. We have a super chat from Aaron. America, once and always a British colony.
Hoorah!
Oh, I want to agree.
I won't even knock that one.
Carry on, please. I just wanted to have that said.
My final point on this, and I'll let you get the final word, CSG. So I'm just going to finish this point. For me, it has nothing to do with whether or not somebody believes that they're they're treated differently, especially ill-treated, because they might be a certain thing. If you want to voice your opinion because you think you're being mistreated, by all means, be my guest. Like, I would actually encourage it. Do it. It's when you start attacking other people because someone like me might say, all right, you're mistreated. Okay, fine. But I don't think you are. But don't mistreat me because you think I'm somehow supporting a system that mistreats you because I don't agree with your viewpoint or I don't agree with your standpoint. I think you're misguided. And that's not me being an istphobe or anything against you. It's just I think you're wrong. And if you're not willing to have that conversation and sit down and talk to me, okay, that's fine. You're not obliged to. That's perfectly fine. That's up to you. That's your opinion. But don't attack me. Don't try to slander me. Don't call me names. If you want to spit on the flag, go ahead and spit on it. But you know what? I think that's stupid personally because you're probably treated more fairly in this country than you would be in several others. But that's my opinion. So sure. I would at least ask that you treat me with the same respect that I would treat you. And I don't see that coming from the other side, and that's what irritates me the most.
Sure, I completely agree with you. I think that there's horrible. That's definitely a word. There's horrible people on both sides. I completely agree with that. But I don't mean to be a dick when I say this. But remember how we were talking about the points of ideology? And how we were talking about populism and popular nationalism and how we're talking about collectivisms. And now we're talking about how people make you feel. And that's the point that I was getting at wholly beforehand. It doesn't matter if you believe yourself to be a collectivist or if you believe yourself to be an individualist or an individual. It always comes back down to, I feel this way because this has done this to me. That's the point that I was trying to get across. That just because that you believe that they think completely and utterly as a collectivist or in group mentality, that doesn't mean that they're subsiding their other group ideologies. That doesn't mean that they've denounced their nation. In actual fact, I know you disagree with me, MC. I know you do.
Yeah, because you're ignoring the fact that they're not just waving flags. Okay, you're ignoring the fact that it's not just that they're just waving what they consider their symbol. It's that they're actively attacking and destroying the fact of the nation, which indicates that their priority, their personal priority, is that identity higher than the nation. They have now placed it above what they consider, what we're looking at as a national identity.
How do you prove that?
All you have to do is watch what they're burning.
No.
It's not what they're
if I disagreed with Great Britain, for instance, or if I disagreed with the European Union and I wanted to burn their flag, so to speak, as a point of disagreement in a protest, do you not think that I'm making a political statement that I don't agree with what the nation's doing?
No,
or
I think
the EU is doing. Or
you disagree with the nation, and you're placing your priority above the fact that of the nation itself. You're saying that my priority in this situation is me and my identity over that of the nation's.
Why would you think that just because that I'm burning a flag that my identity? Why would you not think that it's to do with what I perceive to be injustices?
Because it has nothing to do with the injustices that are being presented. What does the nation in and of itself have to do with an injustice? A nation is not unjust.
If I believe, MC, if I believe that the nation itself is racist, I don't, and I don't from any side of it. But if I was to believe that the nation was racist, how would I go about in trying to change that? If I didn't
you're not
protest
trying to change
and make
the nation. You're trying to destroy the nation because you think it needs to be destroyed.
How?
Because you got to destroy the national symbols. You're saying that those national symbols, right, are oppressive. You're saying that the nation is what did this to you. You're against the nation. You can't come back and say, I'm for the nation, but I'm working to destroy it from within. That just doesn't make any sense.
But
No,
that's
what
your
you're
projection.
saying. No,
But
what
that's
you're
your
saying.
projection.
No, it's not my
That's your
projection.
projection.
It's an example of your actions. It has nothing to do with my projection upon them.
Well, no, because you're
That's the
projecting onto me
action.
what. Yeah, but you're projecting onto me in this hypothetical what my actions are denoting.
No,
rather
I'm sorry,
than
but
the
your actions you don't get to decide what your actions denote.
Oh,
Okay,
really?
you
Don't I? Oh,
No, you
really?
don't.
Don't I? I don't get to decide what my actions are and what I meant by them.
Because if
That's
you say
interesting,
that-
MC. That's
Really?
very
If you
interesting, mate.
defend yourself and you kill somebody, guess what? You're going to have somebody else making an adjudication as to whether or not you actually self-defended yourself or whether or not you committed murder. You do not have that as an individual, all right? The ability to sit up there and determine, well, this is my reasoning. You can say that on an individual. As an individual, you can say it, okay? But that doesn't.
So
but when
what you're
talking
saying is
about-
that I can be
Hold on.
convicted of a fault crime.
But when
You're
talking
literally
about-
no, MC. Very,
Hold
very
on, but let
quickly.
me finish this
No.
because you made a statement. When you take something like that and you're saying, well, me as an individual, this is what I think, and then you go out and take an action against an overall symbol, okay, you are now placing it in a larger context than yourself. The individual now doesn't get to decide. Socially, we're going to decide what that action is. Socially, we're going to decide whether or not that action is acceptable or not acceptable.
That sounds like tyranny, MC.
No, it's the way all societies work.
No, what law have I broken then? If I was to burn a flag, what law have I broken for you to be able to judge me on what my actions are?
I'm sorry, but I get to judge your actions as you walk down the street if you're wearing a floppy hat.
Sure, but you're talking about punitive. You're talking about punitive stuff here, mate.
I'm not talking about punitive action. All right, there's a difference between punitive. Nobody has said punitive action against these guys, except for when all of a sudden they turned violent.
So what you're saying is that you get to decide on what my actions are, but if I tell you what my actions are, me and you have that disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, then that means that my actions, if I tell you what my actions are what I believe them to be. If you want to be, if you want to, hang on. If you want to take offense by them, you can take offense by them. But I not necessarily didn't give the offense, did I, mate?
No. I take that back because what you did was give offense. Whether you intended to do something or not, your actions brought it on.
So does that mean that every joke now can be offensive, and I can take it as being offensive?
Sure, you can, but just because you're offended doesn't mean that it's illegal or tyrannical.
Can I make a suggestion very, very quickly, MC? Calm down a little bit and think about what you're saying, mate. Because I don't mean this to be as they.
No, you're trying to be a dick about this thing.
Sounds that way.
That's what it is. You're trying to say that what your actions aren't definable by other people, and they are.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm saying that the ultimate.
You said that.
No, I'm not, MC. No, I'm not. I'm saying that my actions, if I'm doing this for this particular reason, you can have your judgment of me for doing it that way. But if I come out and tell you that this is the reasons why I'm doing it, I'm probably doing it for those reasons, am I not?
Not necessarily. That makes an assumption that you're not a liar.
Sure. I mean, okay, then that means that we can make the assumption that anybody that tells a racist joke is obviously going to be racist, because otherwise, why would they be telling a racist joke? MC?
That is not what I. That's not what.
That's exactly the same thing.
No, that's not the same thing.
It is. It's just you put your prejudice on top of what I just said, rather than being the opposite way.
Prejudice on anything. It has to do with actions. All right, let's talk about prejudice for a moment. Everyone is prejudiced. Everyone is prejudiced against everybody. I'm not talking about color. I'm not talking about a race. Everybody looks at other people and makes judgments within the value scheme that they have created within their own minds. All right. They judge actions. They judge looks. All right. They judge words. All right. But the main thing that people judge is they judge you by your actions. Right.
Sure.
Okay, so that to say that somebody is prejudiced because they told a joke, okay, it could be an indication, and it also could be an indication of several other things. It's up to you to sit up there and decide, okay, I'm going to be offended by that. Now, if you're offended by that, okay, and you come up to a person and you say, hey, dude, I find that offensive, and the guy comes back and goes, I don't care, and tells another racist joke in front of you, are you going to tell me that person wasn't trying to offend the other person?
But that's not what's happened here. See how you added an extra
That is what's
context?
happened. That is
No,
what
it's
has
not.
happened.
MC, no. You're adding to the point that I would have said that I'm doing it on purpose. Not that I've tried to explain it in the hypothetical that we laid out at the beginning. You're adding to it by putting a
Because
prejudice on
you're-
top of it.
Well, because you're adding a hypothetical that can't exist outside of, except for in a single instance of framework. But we're not talking
No,
about
it's
that.
not. If I
overall
believe
in
that,
the
if I believe, no. If I believe that the country is falling to shit, and I want to burn the flag because I believe that the country is falling to shit, that is my reasoning behind it. Now, if I come out and say that that's my reasoning behind it, sure, you can judge me all
Well,
you
let
want
me
for
ask you
other
a question.
reasons, but that's still me saying
And-
why
and it
I've done
means
it, and
you
not saying that you're a
replaced-
dick.
You're placing your viewpoint above that of the nations.
Sure, everybody does that. That's why
Right,
they
but-
put into politics.
Not exactly. No, people.
Yes,
sit up
you
there
want
and
your.
make sense
Hang on, MC.
self-sacrifice
Hang
for
on.
the- for
Wait,
nation
one
states
second.
all the time.
1 second. If you come in and you want to change anything to do with the country, are you going against the nation?
To change the nation? Not necessarily.
Okay, well, if I believe that you're being oppressive to me as the nation and I want to burn the flag and I want to change it,
No, but
am
you
I
don't
trying
want
to
that-
hang on, am I trying to destroy the nation or am I
Yes.
making a political statement? Okay, so what's the difference, mate?
The difference is very simple. Which one are you willing to sacrifice for? When you
Nobody's
sit there and talk
sacrificing
about
anything. If
changing
I'm
the
burning
nation-
a flag,
Hold on.
if
When
I'm
you
burning
take
a flag, I'm not sacrificing anything, am I, mate?
Hold on. Yeah, you are. You're attacking the nation's symbol.
No,
You're
I'm
attacking
not.
the
I'm
nation.
making no, I'm not. I'm making a political
you are.
point.
You are self-justifying, saying what you're doing isn't that. You know it's a symbol of the nation. You know that what you're doing is to attack the nation because
No,
you're
it's not.
attacking its symbol. You're not sitting there
No,
saying,
it's
"Hey,
not.
look, I don't like racism, and I think we need to change racism in the country." You could say that in so many other ways, but when you go out of your
So
way,
now you're dictating to me on how I express my political opinion.
well, no. I am telling you that, but how you express your political opinion shows people, all right, what your real views are. And when you attack
No, it
the
doesn't.
nation,
You're projecting on what you think
No,
my
I'm
views
not.
are in that situation.
I am saying when you attack the nation, okay, you are taking.
But you're
an
assuming I am. You're
action.
assuming
No, you
I am.
are attacking the nation.
No, I'm
You're
not.
attacking
If anything,
the
I'll be attacked. No, I'm not.
Okay.
If anything,
Is the
anything-
nation? Tell me how the nation is helped by its national symbols being destroyed.
if it's for a political reasoning, like burning the Nazi flag, then you think it would actually be trying to make the nation a better place, wouldn't it?
No.
Gentlemen, please. I would like to bring this to a close soon. Now, before we do, I have a question. How do you two feel about actually continuing this on Friday as an actual discussion? The same way Mad Dodge used to do it, where you'd have one person as moderator and two teams, or in your case, you two, as separate individuals are having your argument. Do you think that you'd be willing and capable of doing so? CSG, we'll start with you.
I mean it in a really nice way. It's a topic that I really don't care that much about. It's all about the idea of if somebody thinks something about what somebody else has done, it's literally fucking Minority Report.
It's not Minority Report. You're over exaggerating. All right, but the
You're
fact
telling
is
me
that
what I'm
other
thinking.
people- it has nothing to do with it. You are trying to tell me how I should interpret your actions. You're
I haven't
telling
been
me,
able
well,
to.
you have. You've gone out of your
No,
way
I haven't.
to attack the nation. Yes, you have. You can claim that you didn't, but you knew what you were doing. All right, was attacking the nation first. It wasn't Black Lives
So what
Matter.
part of the nation? What part of the nation did I attack?
You attacked the nation as a whole. You attacked the symbols. You didn't attack
Oh,
racism.
so I
Let me
attacked the
let me
symbol.
explain something. How is burning the American flag attacking racism?
Because I would believe that I was trying to draw attention to people by saying, look, I'm so annoyed that I'm burning the nation signal because I think that the
because
nation is broken.
The nation is the problem. I'm attacking the nation.
No, I just said
No,
that there is a.
Oh, and if I
Yeah.
might interject real quick, I think what MC is trying to say, if you're going to burn the American flag because you were fighting against an ist or Islamophobia,
Sure.
then essentially by your actions, by burning the American flag, you're telling, or you're openly stating to other people by burning the American flag that you believe that America, the country, as represented by the flag, is inherently an ist or ism or phobic country. The same way that if you were burning the Nazi flag, you'd think that Nazi Germany was a certain type of way. I think that's what MC is getting at. And if I am off base, feel free to correct me, MC.
You're pretty much on.
Then I would have to say that's not what anybody, well, generally, I can't say anybody because then I would be projecting my own opinion onto everybody else then. But in this hypothetical that we're talking about, that's not anywhere near what I would have been saying. If I want to burn the nation's flag, I'm not attacking the nation. I'm trying to make a political statement by saying that I think the nation is broken and, in my opinion, needs to be fixed.
Okay, well, when you say the nation is broken because the symbol, all right, you're saying that the nation is broken, all right? How is attempting to destroy the nation's symbols, all right, advancing your cause as far as saying, look, the nation's broken?
Because I'm trying to get people to
turn around. How do you turn around and say that the stars and stripes, the symbols, the things that have been created, the mythology that's been placed down, all right, the ideals that have been implanted in the founding documents? How do you then turn around and come back and go, okay, we haven't lived up to those ideals, so the nation's broken, so I'm going to attack those very things?
But I'm not trying to attack those things. I'm trying to make a political statement by showing you that I'm so annoyed with the situation I believe is happening that I'm willing to draw attention to it by burning the symbol of the flag.
You're willing to attack the nation because your viewpoint is at a higher priority. You cannot tell me that you are not attacking the neighbor.
How did you even get to that?
Because you're attacking the symbol. You're not
attacking
me.
I'm attacking the symbol
You're
of
not
the government.
attacking me. You're not attacking a racist event. You're not exploiting, saying, look at this as being wrong. All right? You're attacking the symbol of the nation. All right?
Yes.
You're not sitting up trying to exploit this because...
I'm glad you said that correctly that time.
You were attacking... What? What do you mean that time? You're attacking the symbol of the nation.
Yes, you keep on trying to...
And if you're attacking the symbol of the nation...
Oh, Jesus Christ. When you finished, mate. When you finished.
Okay, if you're attacking the symbol of the nation, you're attacking the nation.
No.
Yes.
Hence why the symbol of the nation is to be the representation of what you believe a nation to be. Correct or not?
Okay, and you were attacking that.
Thank you very much. Carry on.
Right. And you're attacking that knowing, all right, that is not a representation, all right, as it exists within the mythology.
No, I believe that it is. I believe that it is, and that's the reason why I'm doing it.
Oh, really? You should want to show me where that is in the American documents?
All right, so real quick, I'm just going to interject between the two of you. Rather than burning the national flag, why not fly it on the same pole as a pride flag and a BLM flag if you want to make a statement? Why burn the national flag?
A lot do.
See, I think that's a better message. I
agree with you. I think that they're going about it the wrong way. But if you're actually at the point where you think that your nation is broken, if I want to burn the symbol of the flag to draw political attention, to get onto the news and get people like MC and yourselves and myself talking about it, do you not think that political statement has made and done its job?
No, because you don't want to talk about the issue.
Oh, God. No, of course I don't.
The reason, real quick, MC, sorry. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is I wanted to bring up the alternative. And rather than burning the flag, why not fly it on the same flagpole? I think that's more productive if you wanted to make a political statement. And
I completely agree.
And I do think CSG has a point here. If you want to make a statement, burning the flag, and I agree with MC on this one, burning the flag, while it might elicit a response, is probably not the response you want. I can understand why you might want to do it, but it's probably not going to get the response you want.
I
Probably
agree.
not the best
I
idea.
actually agree with you. I don't think that it's the actual response that it gets or what they should want from it because it's too emotive. But their point is that it's a political statement. It's not necessarily attacking the nation as a whole and putting their identity above it. In my opinion, and this is not for everybody, there are people out there that do believe that their identity is higher than the nation, and I'm not arguing against that. But most people, or a lot of people, I would believe, are trying to make a political statement in doing that, not by trying to elevate their identity above the nation. In actual fact, in their opinion, trying to make their nation a better nation.
All right,
I
that's
completely
fair.
disagree with you. I
That-
completely disagree with you because if they're really truly trying to make the nation a better nation, all right, that isn't the method that they would choose to use.
In your opinion, MC,
No,
that's where we're going here.
The
No,
majority
MC,
of
that's
the
where we're.
people,
Oh
the
God.
majority of people, hold on. You're talking about what the most of the people will do now because we're trying to sit up there and analyze, all right, a movement, not just a specific individual. Okay, if you take a look at the people that are marching as a group, all right, as a quote unquote collective, the vast majority of them are not marching because they like the country. They are marching.
Then how do you prove that?
It doesn't matter how I prove it.
Okay, so it's just an assertion. So any assertion you make, I can push it aside as another assertion.
You can make the assertion all you want, but you can't sit up there and push to me and
You're-
say,
you're-
well, the
you're
reason
making
that-
the assertion.
Hold on. When I sit up there and put that out there, the vast majority of them that come back and say, oh no, I don't hate the nation. Really? Then why are you doing this? They always walk away because they will not engage in the conversation. So here it is, the same thing that you're claiming that they do, they don't. They say that they want to have a conversation.
But you just proved me right.
No.
You just proved me right.
No, I'm not. I proved you
even
wrong.
in your hyper. No, you didn't. Look, listen for a second. You just proved me correct by saying that when they're asked, they're saying they don't hate the nation.
Right. And then you say, well, then when it's about racism, well, what about this? And as soon as you started engaging with the actual conversation that you are claiming that they said this is the reason that they're not doing it. This is what they said. The reason we're doing this is because of racism. Okay, let's talk about racism. As soon as you start bringing up facts, they walk away. So they didn't want to have the conversation about racism.
So they didn't want to engage with people on the street. They wanted to engage with other people.
They took it to the street. If they're going to take it to the street, I don't think it's out of the mindset that they want to have the conversation in the street, don't you think?
No, not necessarily. If they want to have their conversation in Congress, because they want to draw attention to take it to Congress.
No. If they want to draw attention to take it to Congress, you vote. That's how you deal with it.
So you're saying that Jim Crow would have been around if they didn't take it to the street, or what?
Jim Crow. Okay, you're talking separate.
No, I'm using. No. The reason why I brought that up.
Jim Crow was not defeated by the street, was it?
Well, it wasn't put up as voting material. More and more people seem to apply that happened in the streets.
It was put up by voting material, but it went one other place. It went to our legal court. It went to our adjudication.
And why did that happen? Was it because of the police being horrible to the people in the street?
Nope.
People actually recording it?
Believe it or not, that had nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay, well, most of the newspapers and most of the history seem to be wrong, and you're correct.
No. Well, to an extent, that's true because you can't look at the civil rights movement in the United States, all right, and divorce it amongst a number of other things, okay? Because it wasn't just about racism. It wasn't just about the civil rights movement.
Who said it was?
Huh?
Who in this conversation said it was?
You can't sit there and take a look at everything and say, well,
if you actually ever let me finish your point.
Hold on a second. You can't claim that the people are going to the street just for civil rights and then go, well, it wasn't just for civil rights, but this got to the court system because of the street action. That is not
yes, exactly. Exactly, which was my point.
It had already gone to the courts. Look at history. It had already gone.
I did, mate. I did, and it didn't go to court beforehand.
In Brown versus the Board of Education, okay, was that prior or after the civil rights marches in Selma?
It was prior. It was one of the precursors of why it happened.
CSG, MC. Jensen has to get out of here. I'm going to take over real quick. CSG, you showed up first. I'm gonna give you starting now. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes for final thoughts, and then I'm gonna have MC 2 minutes, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. If you guys want to show up on Friday, dude, show up on Friday and duke it out. But
If I
CSG,
can, I will, but I can't promise that. And to be honest, I got to get back to something anyway. I just wanted to have an argument with CSG more than anything else.
well,
I'll be honest.
MC, if you got to get out of here, then you take final thoughts first. You got final thoughts
No,
first.
when you talk about the nation and what are the national symbols, right? If you want to talk about a specific national symbol, right? If you want to talk about, for example, if you want to take a look at a statue to Thomas Jefferson, for example, all right, and claim that the reason you're going after Thomas Jefferson is because he was a slave owner, and that's what you want to do, that's fine, all right? But the founding documents, the country's and the nation's founding documents, a statue of Thomas Jefferson represents Thomas Jefferson, not the entire nation. Now you can argue the statue of Robert E. Lee represents Robert E. Lee. Okay, a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest, is honoring Nathan Bedford Forrest. But those are not national symbols. All right, you don't have that. If you want to sit there and argue and say, okay, I'm gonna burn $20 bills because it has Andrew Jackson on it, then you've got a point. But when you attack just a generic symbol like a flag, like the nation's flag, you're not just attacking that individual or that specific thing. You're attacking the entire context of the nation. And if you're attacking the entire context of the nation, you're saying that the entire context of the nation is broken. That's how I see it. And there's no reason for me to think otherwise, all right, when the actions of the majority of the people support that conclusion.
All right, MC, that's roughly 2 minutes. CSG, 2 minutes. Final thoughts.
I just wanted to point out that when MC was finishing, it was a case of, this is how I see it, and I'm not going to change my mind. Now, that's a paraphrase, but that's basically what he said. My point has been made.
All right. Well, if that's that, if you guys want to show up and continue the conversation on Friday, if anyone can show up, hey, maybe it might not be this conversation, but we'll show up and shoot the shit anyways, because why the hell not? Jensen, what's your hot take? We got a few minutes to kill.
Okay. Weirdly, they're both almost arguing with each other, as in working together, but yet every time they almost get there, they immediately go to opposite sides. Maybe it's because I get to stand back and look at this. It's mildly amusing. And yes, I do realize you two probably want to rip Seven Bells out of me for that. But do you know what? It's actually true. If you sit back and look at it, you almost get to agreement and then you go to opposite sides. It's kind of fun. Done.
No, I agree with you. We're literally arguing on points of view, as in how we see something. That's literally what we're arguing against.
Well, we're arguing for this, at least from my standpoint. I'm arguing for the sake of arguing to a large extent. It's not that I don't hear what he's saying, right? And it's not that I don't understand what he's trying to come from. The problem is, though, you don't define a movement by an individual. You define a movement by majority and majority actions. You define movements by the overall actions, not the actions of this specific individual or that specific individual, but by the generic actions of all of them. That's how these things are defined.
MC, you're missing an important point: action and perception.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would just like to make one last quote, if I may. This is going back a very, very long time. Nomad, you're wrong. Because that is exactly what you're saying. The difference is you're changing the name Mad to someone else, MC. This is what I'm saying. I'm more than happy to continue this. It's literally just, it's getting that time. I'm sorry, but there's not much I can do about it, guys. Come back on Friday, and seriously, I'm not joking. I will give the pair of you the entire day to say whatever it is you want. I am more than happy to.
No, but this
Well,
conversation doesn't mean anything. We've even both said that we're just arguing for arguing's sake.
Well,
Well,
sorry,
it's a-
you're both
it's too-
you're both gonna have to deal with it because Jensen has to get out of here. It is 2 hours and 5 minutes on the dot now. Cass Warfox, I see you in the chat. Batman, I see you in the chat. Thank you for joining us. You joined us at the end. Unfortunately, we are out of here. So MC, CSG, Jensen, everybody say your goodbyes. And everyone,
bye-bye,
thank you.
everybody. I actually do have to
Very
go.
well.
So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, dude. Bye-bye.
And everyone,
Love
thank
you
you for
all.
joining. Thank you for joining, everyone. We will try to keep this going as much as possible. Jensen, thank you for hosting the stream. I don't have anything to say. I have no final thoughts. So, my friend,
I do.
Captain
I
Quinn.
do. Very, very, very quickly. I do.
All right.
It's nothing to do with what we've been saying about. Anybody that's still watching at the minute, please remember that the PayPal for Mad's wife and family is still at the top. Please go to it. Please, if you can, at this tight point in the year, give generously. Try and make sure that they're looked after. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the chat, and I've enjoyed being here.
Hey, thank you for joining
Thank
us,
you.
CSG, and thank you for that reminder. Jensen, you got anything else to add? Because if not, Captain, kill it.
I believe that is all that needs to CSG is done. Good luck, everybody. And theoretically, the next planned one will be Friday. But seeing as this wasn't planned, hey, who knows? It might be tomorrow. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.